For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Customer service ain't what it used to be. That's been my favorite saying for the past couple of years, and that's what we're talking about again today on the show, and it starts on The Scribble right after this.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
JB here on The Scribble. You know, I've already lost count of how many times I've done a segment, or actually, I think it ends up being an entire show, about customer service, right? I call it Customer Service Ain't What It Used to Be. We almost need to do like a Customer Service Ain't What It Used to Be Part 4, Volume 4, Episode 4, because, I don't know, it just seems like more and more I'm running into situations where, like, either staff doesn't know what they're doing, or they just don't give a shit to help you. And I think back to when I worked in retail. Party City. I worked at Party City, and it was only open... Okay, so Party City has sort of this weird history in Canada where it was open about... I guess it's 20 years ago, because I was just I was in college at the time. So yeah, 20-some years ago, Party City was open for about 1 year. It went into receivership, and then it opened as a store or a company... Well, the store was called Let's Celebrate. But it was basically Party City, just different, you know, branding and colors and whatever. But basically nothing changed. It was all the same. And that was open for a year. So in total, like I worked at Party City from day one, literally day one. My first day was in the big empty like room or building that was Party City. And then the shelving and whatever and the products all showed up. And so, yes, I literally helped build the store. Not the actual, like, you know, building, but inside. I helped put together the shelving, we put out the stock, we labeled everything, we hung the signage, all that stuff. And I was there until the very end, the last day. So yeah, we did it about 1 year of Party City, 1 year of Let's Celebrate. And part of that, obviously working at a party store, is energy and excitement, obviously, right? You're not going to have some downer personality, womp womp. Yeah, we're here to plan our wedding. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, it's a shame, right? Like, you had to be phony ass happy, you know, no matter what was going on in your world. And part of it, too, though, was educating yourself on the products and services. So we had an invitation counter, and that was for people who wanted to have, whether it was for like a wedding shower, baby shower, you know, communion or christening or graduation, retirement, whatever kind of a party. Like, it was this massive, actually there was probably about 4 or 5 different books of invitations. And you kind of needed special training to do it, just because it was quite particular with how you would order invitations through these third-party companies. And so often it would just take so much time. There were stools. I mean, you would literally sit there with the person because they're going to flip through. Some of them, you know, have some of the invitations or the styles have, you know, foil lettering or colors or this and that. So you could be sitting with a person for, you know, a good hour. And it was generally left to the more senior staff. I was an assistant manager. So we were trained on it because, you know, we'd have to know how. But it wasn't something that I would ever jump in on, just because, again, it could be too time consuming. Like, to take away a manager, you know, for potentially an hour with somebody, like, that's just really hard. And so you needed to know about things like that, right? Like, it couldn't just be I don't know. Oh, well, And that's what I seem to get so much with customer service these days. And same thing where we had a balloon counter where we had the helium balloons, Mylar, the foil balloons as everybody calls them. And there's certain things, like there's certain specifications, like the helium lasts 8 to 12 hours, or there's this solution that you can put in that could last 3 to 4 days, whatever it was. I'm just making this up, but there were still things that you needed to know about the product, and a big part of that was you kind of ended up either learning it in training or just on the go because somebody who did know told you that, and now because it comes up all the time, you remember it and you use it as a piece of information. And so bottom line is you still needed to know shit about the products and services that you were offering, right? Like, I mean, there was none of this, I don't know. No, I don't know. If you didn't know, it was your job to own it and find out, right? Like, that's where you would go and say, that's a good question. Let me find out for you. Instead, now you just have kind of people go, I don't know. I think so. That's not good enough for me when I'm buying, depending on what it is, right? But those, it's like, what happened with actually educating on the products? So when it comes to customer service training, let's say a retail job, whatever, it's customer service training, yes. But what about that element of like learning about the shit you're working with? I mean, that's kind of a big deal, like, isn't it? I would think. So I went into, I don't know what it's called now. Sorry, shit. It was called Radio Shack back in the day. And then it's turned into, whatever electronics. I can't think of what. Tell me what it is. No, it wasn't Best Buy. Is it Best Buy? I don't think they changed into that. Okay. Sorry, say that again. It was called this. They're just talking to me. It was called The Source, and it had turned into a Best Buy kiosk, but it's not a kiosk. It was whatever it was. Okay, whatever it was. Bottom line is an electronics store, right? Or a techie kind of a store. So I go in there. I needed new smoke detector batteries, and so I had gone to a hardware store, and it was like crazy expensive because it was this, again, big chain hardware store. It was their brand of battery, so they put a premium price on that. And then in the mall, I ended up just, there's an electronics store. Let me just go in and see if they have it. So I have my actual battery. Like I took the battery from my smoke detector to the store. And I need it to be the exact one, right? Like it can't just be, that's the same shape, or that's the same size, or no. Like you need to actually look at this and see that we're talking about a smoke detector, okay? We're not just talking about like some little, child's electronic device here that like it's an important detail to get the right battery for a smoke detector. So I go into the store and I'm standing at the counter. Now, there's two people. So the man is on the left and the woman is on the right. They've got like the two registers, right? The two computers there. He's leaning up against the counter, just, arms folded, whatever, because they were talking. And of course I interrupted because they weren't doing anything. And so, because she was more forward, like she was kind of at the counter, I went to her, right? Just because I thought maybe he's just, and she's actually right here. So I went to her. So I hold up the battery and I say, do you have these batteries? Right away, dude, who I'm not even approaching, not even standing in front of, says, no. And I just happen to look down in that moment because, they'll have like the shelving or the hooks of other products right in front of you at the counter sometimes. Those impulse purchases, they call them. Or just the handy... So all of the batteries were like right there. I shit you not. I look down at the pegs or the hooks, whatever you call them. Right at the very top one is batteries that are basically the same shape. Now, again, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at the package, see if it's the same volt or whatever you call it. So he interrupts, says no. I look down and I see it. She took the battery from me and she's like, no, we don't carry this. But of course, she's just taking his lead because he said that. And as she's looking at the battery and I look down, I take the package off the hook and I said, is this them? And he comes forward and he looks and he says, oh, that must have just come in. Okay, buddy. All right. Here's the thing, right? That's bullshit. We know that's bullshit. If this is a standard size battery for smoke detectors, and you have every size and style and whatever battery known to man, because if this was in fact Radio Shack back in the day, it's the same kind of a thing where you had every kind of battery, bullshit that it was out of stock and you just got it and, wouldn't you know? No, you told me that you don't carry it, period. So now just this brand new kind of battery just came in. They didn't even tell you that. Because when we worked at Party City, let me just say, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that it was a brand. We had in our store either lists, even pictures of new products when they were arriving. Hey, heads up, 5 new items here, one in houseware or kitchenware, because, we'd have like serving ladles and things, whatever, for punch bowls and crap. So we got a new ladle. This one, it's in aisle 7, blah, 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 blah. And then we've got these new plastic cups. But now, I'm not saying we did that for every single goddamn thing, but if it's an item that's, hey, this is either going to be a hot ticket item or this is, be mindful, it's here, this is new, and you actually had to, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was at Party City, you actually literally had to sign your initials on these like posted things to acknowledge that you've read it. Like, that's my point is that's how much we had to give a shit about what we were selling. We had to know our stuff, we had to know what we carried, and that way, get this, that way we looked smart. We looked like we cared. We looked like you're going to have a positive experience with us today. I don't see a problem with that. So let me fast forward back or just jump back to the battery situation here. And I kind of was a little bit snarky just because, like I said, he sort of interrupted and I wasn't talking to him and, jumping in. And so I looked and I said, so you don't know like the products that you sell here? Like, is that kind of what it is? Because you were very quick to jump in and say no. Oh, it must have just come in. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Uh-huh. And then she'd rung it through and whatever, and then she, handed it to me in the receipt, and he said, "Thank you for your business, sir." As I left, and I'm thinking, yeah, because I just made you look like an idiot, and you were about ready to turn away a sale. If you did, at least come around the counter and look with me. I think we have those. Let me just come around to that, because at Party City we would never, and again this was part of training, we would never just point or say, yeah, aisle 6 or aisle 6 on the right. Nope. That was not. No, you took them. You took them there so that they didn't have to come back up 5 minutes in and go, I can't find it. But I'm not sending you on a wild goose chase. I know where it is. Let me show you. You owned it. You owned that interaction. You own that interaction because at the same time, that's where you build a rapport. Now I've got the customer in the aisle. Hey, okay, so we found the ladle. Let's go back to the ladle here. Found the ladle. Now, do you have a punch bowl? Do you have that? Do you have, or even the hooks? Maybe you're going to hang some plastic glasses on the side of it. Do you have, like, what are you doing? Are you just using, plastic that you're going to throw out? Do you have like actual, what are you serving in it? Is it going to be alcoholic? Is it going to be, do you want it to be fancy? A clear cup? What do you have? And then you can show them other products, right? Because that's all part of the selling technique. Party City wasn't big on pushing sales. Maybe that's why it went out of business after 2 years. Nevertheless, though, it was customer centered. It was very customer focused. And we had, a policy where if there's 2 people in line, a third person comes, you page somebody as the cashier, somebody up front to come and help you. And if it was a slow day where we only maybe had like 2 cashiers and there was really nobody in the store, you were neurotic. And I remember feeling this way a couple of times where I'm down the aisle, like stocking a shelf or I'm doing something. I was so paranoid that I would miss out on somebody standing there and make them stand there for 15 seconds too long. And I would be going up all the time. I wouldn't even be getting the work done down the aisle just because I was so, and at some point you almost just stand up there and go, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to busy myself up front so that when they do come, then I can, just ring them through. But it was all about paying attention to the fucking customer. And I don't know, we've lost that somewhere along the way, whether that's companies cutting back on labor hours or just get through people quickly, get the money from them and, move on. I don't know. But that battery thing, I just thought, wow. Right? Think about how many times you've gone into a store, you've asked, hey, where's the such and such? Where's the paper towels? Where's the, whatever, socks? Where's the, and they, aisle 37. Yeah. I think it's, and then have you ever been told the wrong place to go and look for something too, right? That's why you escort the customer. You go with them. Maybe something did move and it's not there anymore and you forgot or, something, right? So battery thing was not good. Now, more of a major purchase for me was an air conditioner. We had our air conditioner crap out on us, and I had it out with the insurance company. Had it out. I'm going to tell you that story when we come back.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
JB here on the Scribble, just reminding you, customer service ain't what it used to be. It's not. It's really not. And with our house in Winnipeg, my husband and I, we have a house in West Hollywood, and then we have one in Winnipeg. We were traveling. We were gone for the weekend. I don't remember if we were just at the lake or I don't remember where. But anyway, we came back on a Sunday night. And the house, this was beginning of summer, and the house was sweltering. And I'd said to him, like, oh shit, maybe we forgot to put the air conditioner on. Because, you know, like if you're not home, you'll set it so that it's just at a certain temperature, and then either you have it set to a timer or whatever that, you know, maybe an hour before you come home, right? It goes to the temperature that you like, so it's not cooling the house that, you know, nobody's in. And we have a very large house. So I was just like, oh shit, maybe we just turned it off completely, whatever. Well, so go and look at the thermostat on the wall, and it was like set to on or I can't remember what it says, auto, whatever, but it was programmed properly. Bottom line is the air conditioner had crapped out, like it just wasn't working. And so I'd said to him like, oh crap, well, we have a home warranty. Now this is not our house insurance. This is through the mortgage where you have a home warranty, which basically covers, the major appliance, not the major appliances, but I guess like a water heater, a furnace, an air conditioner. Oh, is that an appliance? What do you call those? You know what I mean. Anyway, right? The big things that, you know, power your house in a sense. And so, it's something that like I've been in the house for 17 years. So it's not like this is a new, and for this warranty, I've only ever called upon it a few times. I think maybe about 15 years ago, the air conditioner did crap out and then it was replaced. There was something last winter, there was a part that stopped working in the furnace, and so they ended up, you know, fixing it or replacing it or whatever. And then we did have the water heater just, you know, stop working or whatever. So it's come in handy over the course of time. And again, it's not like it's insurance where like your premiums go up or you have a claim, and so now it's a warranty. So you're basically paying, I think it's like $9 or something a month with your mortgage. So I was like, whatever, you know, you call the 800 number because you give them your file or your account or whatever it's called. So it's a 24-hour line. I get somebody, on the phone, and I'd said to her, well, our air conditioner is not working. We have a 3-day heat wave. There's actually like a heat warning about to hit the city. So I need somebody to come tonight to, look at this and fix it. And she said, well, the best we can do is probably somebody tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I said, no, this is an emergency. It needs to be looked at now and fixed because we've got two very, furry, big, hairy dogs and us, and the temperature in the house is already excruciating. And so if we're heading into a heat warning, for 3 days, I need it fixed tonight so that we can sleep and everybody can, recharge. I'm not doing it. Well, no, that's not. I said, well, yes, excuse me here, because, you've done it in the past where, the furnace is broken down or whatever. She's like, well, that's different. It's the winter. And I said, okay, but it's summer and it's sweltering and you can, have health issues and you can, there can be problems if it's muggy and you can't breathe because you're not opening your windows, right? So you're not having air circulation. And so the air is just kind of sitting in there. I said, that could be dangerous. And so, yes, this is an emergency. I need you to dispatch somebody tonight. So she's giving me a hassle, giving me the runaround saying that it's not possible, it's not an emergency. So finally I just lied and I said, my child is screaming and probably won't sleep tonight. Okay. So if you're going to make my child sick, I crank this up a notch and we're going Karen on your ass here. Because again, it's a service that I'm paying for. If I'm telling you it's an emergency because, it's already however many degrees in the house and now it's just going to be heating up it's going to be cooking even more over 3 days. No, I'm not going to have, because then somebody's going to have to come and then, well, maybe we get a replacement the next day and then the next day. We look at it now. It can be dealt with first thing in the morning if need be. But somebody's going to come, and if they can get it working, then great. But I'm not doing this whole, we can get you in for Wednesday. No, fuck it. I'm paying for the service. You're getting somebody out there now. So she's giving me the hassle, giving me the runaround. And then she's like, well, I'll try some of the local people, and I'll get back to you. So now we're heading into about midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. She calls me back, and she says, well, I've tried 4 places. One of the places says they can't come tonight, and the other 3 haven't answered, and they haven't got back to me. And I said, that's a bit odd, because if these are 24-hour emergency places, I find it very difficult to believe that they're not answering their phone if they're a 24-hour. They might have an answering service, sure, right? And then it'll just be paged to somebody or, and then they'll call you back. But to not hear back from 3. So then I'm going, that's really concerning. If these are your trusted partners or whatever, and they're not getting back to you, doesn't that bother you? Because that bothers me. So being the journalist, right? I was major in journalism 20-some years ago. I said, what are the names of the places and who didn't get back to you? So she listed off the 4 of them, and I said, okay, and I'll reach out to them. What's the number that they can call you at? And so she wouldn't give me a phone number, and I said, well, then how are you expecting them to call you back if there's no phone number to reach you at? Oh, well, I've left it with them. I said, okay, but I'm your customer, so you're not going to give me the phone number that if I do reach them to say, hey, reach out to her, call her on this number? No, we can't do that. You just have to call the 800 number again. And I said, so why me, the customer who's paying you, isn't privileged enough to have contact information for the warranty company that I am subsidizing? So I get on the phone, the dick that I am, and I called all 4 places. Wouldn't you know it, all 4 of them either answered or got back to me. But I made contact with all 4 of them. And because, as I mentioned, the whole journalism thing, I recorded the calls. So I have receipts now. I have receipts that I was able to reach every goddamn company that she allegedly did not. Now, again, they're seeing a random phone number when I call. Actually, I think my number's even unlisted, so they're not even seeing my phone number come up. But for her, it could be, home warranty or whatever the company is. So they would know that number because that's probably something they, deal with or see all the time. So I'm now on a tear. It's now 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm just, whatever. And so one of the companies ended up saying that he had, no idea what I was even talking about. And I said, oh, well, such and such company didn't call you to reach out to me. You didn't even get a message about, this air conditioner thing. Nope. He had not a clue. So I, again, being the journalist that I am, and I have a radio studio in my house, just because that was my career for, a better part of 20 years. The calls were recorded. I uploaded the audio, and now I'm like hammering away the emails because I am livid. Right? I mean, come on now. I've busted your person lying. First of all, and you can sort of tell because she's dismissive, like right from the bat. You know that there's going to be no budging. You know she's not interested in helping you. She's not going to dispatch somebody. So the easy way is just to go and say, well, I tried. I didn't. Okay, I'll own it then. I'll try and I'll reach out myself. It's my house. It's my well-being. I will do this then on my own. You're going to pay for it, but I'm going to do it on my own. So I am just... It's not the most professional email that I then, by the way, because it's through my mortgage, I emailed the mortgage company, I emailed the insurance company, I emailed the places that were allegedly contacted, and everybody was copied on it. And I'm just flipping out. I threatened to cancel my mortgage. You know what? I have several properties. We've got business, we've got company offices. I will take everything. I will take all of my business. I'm not going to start dropping numbers, but it's at least 7 figures in real estate. We are done. We are done. Your person, the company with whom you deal, this warranty company, telling me it's not an emergency, is lying, and I've got it on tape with these companies saying they don't even know what the fuck she's talking about. And we got a problem. We've got a problem. When I indicate to your person there's a baby who's crying and they can't sleep, this is not a safe situation to be in, and you brush me off like that, we have a problem. We have a problem. As a 17-year customer, now again, I'm not just being a Karen who didn't get her way as, I've only been dealing with you guys for 2 months, 17 years. And again, 7 figures in business, we're talking in real estate here. Do you want to lose that? Do you want to lose that? Well, they didn't. So here's what happened. So the Monday, shit is hitting the fan. So we had a company come out on the Monday. The guy looks, he's like, no, it's shot, whatever, it's need a replacement. I said, okay, fine. So he sends the paperwork or whatever to the warranty company, and they review it, and they say, it's normal wear and tear, it's not covered. And I said, whatever, fine. But you still have not addressed the situation from last night carried over to today. Explain it. Tell me what happened. And they were very defensive and was like, this is... that's not considered an emergency, And so I come back and go, your rep lied, and you need to address that. If she's saying she's done something and she has not, that's lying to me, and that's dismissing me, and I've got it on tape lying. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a national consumer alert story about your warranty company and the mortgage company. The bank's going to get some airtime on this one as well. So if you're refusing to provide a statement, what's going to happen is we're going to play the recordings. We've got what she's saying to me, and we've got what these people are saying to me, saying, don't know what you're talking about, buddy. And we can turn this into a PR story for you if you'd like. You're not going to fuck with me. When it comes to the health and safety and well-being of my house, my pets, my family, whoever, and I busted you lying. You're lying. I didn't do anything. I maybe pushed her to, get this fixed because, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight when it's, however, 100 degrees in the house. I've got her on tape lying. Like, that's where a company is going to step in and go, we're very sorry, yes, it was an oversight, whatever. I wanted a statement from either of the companies, mortgage company, and they even called one of the executives as well. And I said, look, buddy, your warranty company's not responding. They're refusing to answer me. You tell me. Because at the end of the month, we're gone. We're gone. Our mortgages, gone to another bank, already calling, already making calls. We're moving on. Don't need you. Bye. By the way, I have better credit than my mortgage broker. It's funny because he told me about that not too long ago. Yeah. Can you believe that? So my mortgage guy, and then I have my accountant. She's like, yeah, you've got better credit than I do as well. I'm like, there we go. So I can get a mortgage somewhere else. I can move it. I'm not concerned about that. So they refused, and I said, okay, whatever, I'll just, I have money. We've got money to replace it, right? Like, that's not the issue. The issue is you lied, you need to apologize, whatever. So now with the threat of a national media campaign, there's a bit of a freak out. There were some emails and phone calls that were flying back and forth on the Monday, and then I think on the Tuesday. We actually had it replaced, don't we? But that's not the point. So They thought that I'm fighting them because they refused to pay for the replacement. That was always their thing, right? It's normal wear and tear. Look at your policy. I said, no. You're fighting something completely different than what I'm talking about. My issue is you lied, dismissed it. I've got it on tape. Explain why that happened and apologize for that. That's what I'm holding out for. That's all they need to do. Own it. I've got you. She's on tape. This isn't AI. This is her. She's on tape. Wednesday, I was in the basement doing something. I don't remember right now. All of a sudden I look and I saw, I don't know if it was their parent company or something, but it was not a name that I recognized. But because it had a company name, I answered it. And it's just so coincidental that I had my laptop within a few feet of me. Oh, I was working on my computer. That's what I was doing. I don't know why I was in the basement though. Oh, husband was working out. That's right. He's got a gym downstairs, and I was okay. So anyway. So I'm sitting down there, I'm doing my work, I'm typing away, and all of a sudden, so I had him, shut off his music, and so I hit record on my laptop, and sure as shit, it's the parent company or the whatever affiliation from the warranty place. And again, the woman is going and saying, I understand there's concern that we're not covering it, whatever. I said, no, stop right there. Like, don't even, no, stop, just stop. You're already on the wrong track. Already on the right track. So if you've been told to contact me, I trust that you've read the emails and you've seen me flip out because you guys are not addressing what I'm complaining about. They're telling me to wrap up already. Okay, I know. But so she was, I guess, calling to like make nice or whatever it was. And I said, all right, so unless you are compensating me or whatever, then there's nothing to talk about. And everything that you're saying right now is on the record because it's being recorded. I said, I'm fired up, yes. And if you guys would have just addressed this right at the beginning, own it at the beginning, own it. But instead, I was getting emails of, this is our final note on the matter. This is our final response on the matter. No, because you haven't addressed what I'm actually complaining about, you're going to keep hearing from me. And absolutely, your media relations, your executives, your parent companies, your investors, your whoever is all going to hear from me. Yep. Karen overload here. Karen full swing in that moment. It's not because I don't get it's because you lied to me. Right? I'm a big boy. We don't cover because it's wear and tear. It says that in your policy. I'm not disputing that. Show me in any of my emails, and because I recorded my phone calls with them, show me or replay me anywhere where I've said, replace it, I don't care. No. That was never, ever, 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 ever said. My issue is you lied. And I will not be lied to. Will not be lied to. Doesn't matter if this is an air conditioner, a can of paint, a window, a couch. You're not going to lie to me. I can't do it. When my husband lied to me early on in the relationship, he was literally kicked out of the house. His shit was in the snow. It was. I don't do, there's just, there's embellishments, there's exaggerations, there's whatever. Lying? Nope, not dealing with it. I'm not. And when I have it on tape, right? That's what's even, kind of worse about it though. It's on tape. And I've caught you and I'm asking you to speak to it. And you're just pretending like I'm not even addressing it. You're reading every other part but that. Or you're reading it, you're just not acknowledging it. Doesn't work for me. So because I had said to her that everything is on the record, I've been waiting for a media statement, and you're the one calling me, I take this as you're the company representative, you're the one speaking for the company, go ahead, recording's all yours. And she said, I've got to stop the conversation right now. I don't authorize, I don't consent to being recorded. I said, not a problem, don't need your consent to record, keep going. No, I have to stop because you've said this is going to be used on the air and I'm not the media person. I said, well, why hasn't the media person contacted me? Sir, I've called to, kind of see if we can make this right, blah, blah, blah. So what are you making right? The only way you can make it right is you're replacing it. Or, because I know that you don't mean the apology, right? Like after all this, of 2 days about, you don't mean the apology. You're apologizing because you're basically being forced to. So you coming 2 or 3 days later and apologizing doesn't, no. Right? Like it's just, no. You're doing it because somebody in the back office there who's got some sort of media relations background or whatever is like, shit, we've got to apologize to this guy. Yeah, well, when we've already upped the stakes this high, apology? No, that's not, you got to bring it. You got to bring it. I said, so what are you doing? Somebody will get back to you by the end of the day. I said, well, our media deadline was 4:30 and that's about an hour away. So if it's nothing, then I go live with the story that the company hasn't responded, da-da-da-da. I'll play the media game. Sure as shit, I then get an email in writing where they're offering to pay $3,000 towards a replacement air conditioner. And I'm just because I'm in a mood and I'm laughing and I'm sitting there again, my husband's working, he's just doing his thing, he doesn't even fucking care. And because we got the new air conditioner already at that point. Out of pocket, but still, right? So I get the email and it says $3,000 and I'm sitting there going, hey, that's pretty good. The replacement though was like, was it? I don't even remember. It was 4,600. So, 3,000, but that's still a good chunk to cover, right? So I sat there going, okay, so they're still not addressing the lying. You're just gonna push money at me, which again is fine. I accepted it, or I didn't accept it. I was kind of waiting, and I was like, but you didn't give me the media statement. That's what this is all about. Again, I'm not fighting because it's wear and tear. You should still cover it. We've never had that argument. We've never had that discussion. So I'm sitting here laughing, and I kind of did a victory lap to a couple of my colleagues and some family members who knew what was going on. So I took a screenshot and I said, they're offering me, $3,000, dollars, or it was $3,050. I don't know why it was 50. And so they were like, yeah, pretty good then. They ended up paying for it. And I said, well, kind of, most of it. And as I'm sitting there, I start replying, and I was like, no, at the end of the day, they still haven't addressed the lying. Like, they still haven't, that's the issue here. They still haven't addressed the lying. So I laughingly said to my husband, who, so he it's an actual gym that he has in the basement. So it's not just like, oh, there's a weight bench in the corner of the rec room or whatever it is. No, it's a full-on fucking gym because he's a fitness model and that's his world. So he has an actual gym. And so, and obviously the door's open or whatever when so I just burst out laughing and I said, I'm going to ask them for $4,000 because they haven't provided a media statement. I will accept $4,000 because in the absence of a media statement, I will accept $4,000 payment. All they can say is no, right? They're not going to come back and go, you know what? Well, we're taking the $3,000 off the table. Sorry. That's, wouldn't you know it? I'm not bullshitting you, ladies and gentlemen, because I have receipts when I make claims like this. So I can, sure as shit, they came back and said, we feel that $3,050 is appropriate. But in the interest of, showing our appreciation for your long-term, business or whatever it was, we will give you $4,050. So here's the thing. Again, I'm not condoning being a Karen and flipping out over just the smallest thing, whatever. But cover yourself, right? So if there's a major, appliance, whatever, malfunction, whatever, record your phone calls. Do screenshots of messages, save emails, print them, whatever it is. Keep this shit. Keep this shit. If something is kind of wait a second, that seems like a contradiction, or, oh, that doesn't seem quite right, then look into it. You don't need to have a journalism background. Trust your instincts. And sit here and go, okay, wait a second. If I was in the situation where I'm on the receiving end, let's say I'm the phone operator and I just don't want to deal with it or whatever, I'm going to sit there and think, wait a second, the customer calling me could be recording the call, right? It can be used against me nowadays. That's kind of, so why would I go and lie? Especially when I'm getting frustrated that she's saying, no, we're not going to help you. No, we're not going to help you. I would get a read from that customer. It's yeah, he might end up raising shit tomorrow. So I should probably, right? I mean, that's just me. So absolutely, yeah. Record your phone call, stick to your guns. And, in a situation like that, ask for another $1,000. Say, you know what, in the absence of a media statement, well, again, my situation's a bit different. You can ask for a media statement if you're not an actual member of the media, but we were legit going to do a story. This is hush money now at this point. There you go. You just paid me $1,000 in hush money and contributed to the new air conditioner. So, and just again, you're super late. We're already over time. But yeah, like the customer service thing is just fucking maddening. And, again, somebody like me, the customer who's getting aggressive and things like that on the other end probably doesn't help. But if you're trained properly on, just how to handle people and your own product, people might take it easy on you. But if you're dismissive, right? Like nobody likes hearing the word no. You don't like to be told no. But if you can like justify it or explain it or kind of make me see it a certain way, then I'm more likely to accept it, right? But if you're telling me it's not an emergency, no, you're not the one in my house right now. You don't know that there's no air circulation. Why would we then turn on a fan just to blow around hot air? Like we can't open the windows because it's not going to do anything to cool the place because, again, we're already in a heat wave. And it's in the news that there's a heat advisory or heat warning. So, it's just, you just have to kind of make sense of this for me, so anyway, I'd love to hear your customer service stories or customer service nightmare stories live at jbonair.com, I actually had more and we didn't have time to get to them. So maybe we'll do a part 2 at some other point. But again, live at jbonair.com. We're doing a hard out, which means I'm leaving right now. I will talk to you next week on The Scribble. Bye-bye, everybody.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com. Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.